Good evening, dear dreamer. I am Professor Somnus, your gentle guide through the quiet corridors of history. Tonight, we'll wander slowly through the story of the American Revolution, told in all its calm and sleepy detail. Close your eyes, turn the page, and let history guide you to sweet dreams. Let us begin, not with battles or declarations, but with the gentle world of the American colonies. Long before revolution was ever whispered, the colonies stretch along the Atlantic coast, from the pine forests of New Hampshire to the warm, sandy shores of Georgia. The land is dotted with small towns, each one unique, but all sharing the slow, steady rhythm of daily life. Fields are bordered by wooden fences, and narrow roads wind through orchards and meadows, connecting neighbors in a quiet patchwork. The air is cool in the mornings, sometimes heavy with mist. Roosters crow softly from distant farms. In the towns, the first signs of life begin with the faint creak of old doors opening, the sound of boots on wooden steps, and the gentle swish of brooms sweeping front porches. Colonial homes are often simple, with steep roofs, small windows, and fireplaces built of stone. Some homes are painted in faded earth tones, while others are left to weather into gentle shades of gray and brown. Entries are sometimes flanked by tidy gardens, where herbs and flowers grow in neat rows. Inside, the rooms are small but cozy. Families rise early, lighting candles or lanterns when the morning is still dark. The flames cast soft golden light across the walls, illuminating shelves lined with pewter dishes and handmade pottery. The scent of baking bread and simmering porridge fills the air, mingling with the faint smell of wood smoke from the hearth. Breakfast is quiet, often eaten in silence or with slow, thoughtful conversation. A common meal might be brown bread, a bit of butter, perhaps a spoonful of jam or a slice of cold meat left over from the night before. Milk is poured carefully from heavy jugs, and children eat slowly, savoring each bite. After breakfast, the day's work begins. Fathers and sons might head outside to tend the fields, their boots sinking softly into the damp earth. They check on the crops, pulling weeds by hand, inspecting the leaves for signs of pests, and mending fences where the wood has weathered and split. The work is not hurried. Each task is done with care, in the same way it has been done for years. In the barn, there are animals to feed. Chickens cluck softly as they peck at scattered grain. Cows wait patiently to be milked, their tails swishing back and forth. The barn cats stretch and yawn, curling up in patches of sunlight that fall through the open door. Mothers and daughters stay inside or near the house, spinning wool, weaving cloth, or mending clothes. The spinning wheel turns with a gentle, rhythmic sound, its motion a calm and soothing part of the day. Needles move in and out of fabric, stitching strong seams in shirts and dresses that will last for many seasons. Soap is made from animal fat and lye, stirred carefully in heavy pots until it thickens, then poured into wooden molds to cool and harden. Children help with chores, fetching water from the well, gathering eggs from the henhouse, and picking berries from the hedgerow. Sometimes they walk to the nearest stream, the sound of water bubbling over rocks, providing quiet company as they fill their buckets. The path to the stream is lined with wildflowers in the spring and summer, and the scent of fresh grass is always in the air. The village green is a gathering place, though never a busy one. Neighbors greet each other with polite nods and a few quiet words. The blacksmith's shop stands at one end, the faint clink of hammer on anvil drifting through the air. Horses wait patiently outside the general store, their tails flicking at flies. The general store itself is a place of slow commerce. Shelves are stocked with sacks of flour, jars of molasses, coils of rope, and bolts of cloth. Purchases are made with coins or, sometimes, bartered for produce or eggs. The shopkeeper keeps careful records in a ledger, his handwriting neat and deliberate. Lunch is simple and taken at midday, often outdoors during the warmer months. A meal might be cold meat, fresh bread, slices of cheese, and perhaps an apple or two. There is time for a short rest, perhaps sitting on a shaded porch, listening to the distant sounds of birds. In the afternoon, the work continues. Fields are checked again, livestock watered and fed, tools cleaned and put away. Gardens are weeded, and if rain is coming, the laundry is hurried off the line and brought inside to finish drying near the fire. As the sun lowers, the world takes on a golden hue. Shadows lengthen and the air cools. Children's laughter is softer now, and the animals settle in for the night. Supper is a warm and hearty meal, perhaps a stew made from garden vegetables, or roast chicken with potatoes. Evenings are quiet. Families gather around the hearth, where the fire crackles softly. Sometimes someone reads aloud from the Bible or a favorite book, the words drifting gently through the room. Letters are written by hand, careful script forming on thick paper. The ink dries slowly in the cool air. Outside, night falls slowly. The moon rises, silver and silent, over fields and forests. The only sounds are the distant hoot of an owl and the gentle sigh of the wind through the trees. Lanterns are extinguished one by one, and the world settles into a peaceful hush. In these quiet moments, the colonies are far from revolution. Life is measured in seasons and cycles, in the careful repetition of daily chores, and in the gentle comfort of familiar routines. Time passes slowly, each day much like the last, and the future remains a distant thought. Now, as you drift in this gentle world, you may find your mind growing quieter, your breathing slower, and your body more at ease. The story of the American Revolution is only just beginning, but for now, let us remain a while longer in the calm before the storm. In the quiet peace of the colonial night, tensions rise as the years pass. The colonies continue their quiet routines, but small changes begin to ripple beneath the surface. The world beyond the villages and fields seems distant, yet slowly, almost imperceptibly, new rules and taxes from the faraway British Parliament begin to reach the shores of America. It starts with the arrival of official letters carried by post riders who travel for days along winding roads. The horses move at a steady pace, their hooves thudding softly against packed earth. When the mail arrives, it is received by the town's postmaster, who carefully opens each letter with a small knife, smoothing the paper with deliberate, gentle hands. The letters bring news of new taxes. The Sugar Act imposing a fee on sugar and molasses. The Stamp Act requiring special stamps on newspapers, legal documents, and even playing cards. The words are formal, the language proper and measured. The colonists read the notices slowly, sometimes aloud by candlelight, tracing each line with a finger to be sure of the meaning. Most colonists go about their daily lives unchanged. Yet, in town halls and meeting houses, small gatherings take place. Neighbors assemble on hard wooden benches. the air filled with the faint scent of beeswax candles and the sound of shuffling feet. The meetings are never hurried. People speak in calm, careful tones. Sometimes a long silence fills the room as everyone considers what has been said. Some express concern about the new taxes. Others simply nod and look at their hands. The discussion drifts to other topics: the weather, the harvest, the next church service. Outside, the sky darkens, and the meeting ends as quietly as it began. Everyone returns home, lanterns swinging gently, footsteps muffled by the soft earth. In the print shops, presses begin to turn. The process is slow and mechanical. The printer arranges each letter by hand, setting the type with steady fingers. Ink is spread carefully across the surface, and sheets of paper are pressed down one by one. The smell of ink and paper fills the small space. Pamphlets and notices are laid out to dry, the words crisp and black against the pale paper. Messengers carry these printed pages to neighbors and friends. Sometimes they travel by horseback, other times on foot, their pockets filled with carefully folded leaflets. The news spreads gradually, passing from hand to hand, house to house. In the larger towns, ships from England arrive at the docks. Sailors unload wooden crates, barrels, and sacks, while dock workers move slowly beneath the midday sun. Among the goods are shipments of tea, which soon become a quiet point of disagreement. Some colonists, quietly but firmly, refuse to buy the taxed tea. Others simply drink their usual cup and say little. The British soldiers who come to enforce the laws do so with a quiet, methodical presence. Their red coats stand out against the earth tones of the town, but their movements are orderly, almost ceremonial. They march in small groups along the main street, boots tapping in unison. In the evenings, they sit in the taverns, sharing soft words and warming their hands by the fire. Life for most people continues as it always has. The seasons change, fields are plowed and harvested, and the daily chores never end. Yet conversations linger a little longer at the market. People wonder, in soft voices, about what might come next. Letters are written more often now, addressed to friends and relatives in distant colonies. The writing is slow and careful, each letter taking time to compose. News travels with the speed of a horse or the steady progress of a stagecoach. Sometimes weeks pass before a reply returns. On quiet nights, after the fire has burned low and the house is still, some colonists sit and read these letters by the glow of a single candle. The words are not urgent. They speak of taxes, yes, but also of gardens, of new babies, of illnesses and recoveries, of the everyday flow of life. The tension grows, not in sudden leaps, but in slow, gentle waves. Most days are unchanged, filled with the same steady work and familiar faces. Yet, beneath the surface, the world is shifting very gradually, like a river changing its course, almost too slowly to be noticed. As you listen, you may find your breath growing deeper, your mind slowing with the gentle, persistent pace of life in the colonies. The American Revolution is still far away, just a distant possibility, whispered in the quiet corners of town halls and written in letters that take days and days to arrive. Let us linger here a while with the soft voices of neighbors, the slow turning of the printing press, and the calm, steady march of time. Life during the Revolution, as the months pass and the war slowly winds its way across the land. Daily life in the colonies carries on with quiet determination. While stories of battles and distant armies drift from town to town, most people continue to find comfort in the rhythms of ordinary days. On the home front, the work never ends. In the early morning, the first sounds are familiar. The soft sweep of a broom on the porch, the gentle clatter of a pail at the well, the low murmur of voices in the kitchen. Bread is kneaded and set to rise, its yeasty scent filling the house. Water is fetched, and fires are coaxed to life with careful hands. Spinning wheels turn slowly in corners, their wooden spokes clicking in a calm, repetitive song. Wool is carded and spun into thread, then woven into sturdy cloth on the loom. Each movement is measured, each task completed with patience, as mothers and daughters work side by side. Outside, the gardens need tending. Rows of beans and squash are weeded, and potatoes are dug from the cool earth, brushed clean, and set aside for supper. Chickens peck in the yard, and cows are led to pasture, the sound of their hooves muffled in the morning dew. The air is filled with the soothing hum of bees, moving from blossom to blossom. Children help where they can. Small hands carry wood for the fire, gather eggs, or pick wildflowers to brighten the table. Their laughter carries on the breeze, mixing with the calls of robins and the distant tapping of a woodpecker. When chores are done, there is time for quiet games, played in the shade of a spreading oak or along the banks of a nearby stream. In towns and villages, shopkeepers open their doors as the sun climbs higher. Shelves are lined with whatever goods are available, sometimes little more than salt, a few candles, lengths of thread, and jars of preserves. Coins are scarce, and often purchases are made by barter. A dozen eggs for a spool of thread, a wedge of cheese for a small bag of flour. Transactions are slow and careful, each one accompanied by a polite nod or a few friendly words. News of the war arrives in small, uneven pieces. Most often, it comes in the form of letters delivered by weary riders, their horses moving at a gentle, steady trot. The letters are read aloud by family members gathered near the fire. The words are plain, describing the weather, the health of loved ones, and the slow movements of armies in faraway places. Sometimes, a letter brings news of a son or brother who has joined the fight. The family listens in silence, imagining the distant campfires, the long lines of tents, and the quiet determination of men far from home. Mothers tuck these letters away, folded and kept safe in wooden boxes, to be read again on quiet evenings. In the camps themselves, soldiers find comfort in small routines. Each morning, they form lines for roll call, standing quietly as names are read in the dawn light. Meals are simple and shared: dried meat, hard biscuits, and sometimes a cup of weak tea. Fires are built carefully, tended by men who have grown skilled at coaxing warmth from damp wood. Days pass slowly. There are drills and exercises, marching, turning, shouldering muskets, then resting again. At night, the camps settle into stillness, broken only by the soft murmur of conversation or the gentle strumming of a fiddle. Letters are written by candlelight, describing the camp, the weather, and the hope for news from home. Between battles, there is much waiting. Men sew their own uniforms, patching worn sleeves and darning socks with thread sent from home. Boots are repaired, canteens are cleaned, and equipment is checked and rechecked. Some men carve small tokens from wood pipes, buttons, or simple toys. Others keep journals, recording the passing of days and the thoughts that come in the quiet hours before sleep. For those who remain in the towns, life is both unchanged and different. The absence of loved ones is felt in the empty chairs at the table, the silent places at church, and the unfinished tasks around the farm. Yet, life continues. Neighbors help each other, sharing food, mending fences, and gathering for prayer and quiet conversation. Holidays and Sundays bring small comforts. Families gather for meals, sharing stories and laughter. Children play games in the yard, and the sound of a hymn drifts from open church windows. These moments, simple and gentle, are a balm for weary hearts. As the seasons turn, the war stretches on. Spring brings new growth to the fields. Summer is filled with the hum of insects and the scent of fresh hay. Autumn colors the trees in gold and red, and winter brings long nights gathered by the fire, the wind rattling the shutters. Through it all, the people of the colonies endure with quiet strength. Their days are marked by small victories: a loaf of bread baked to perfection, a letter safely arrived, a neighbor's helping hand. The world is changed, yet the heartbeat of daily life continues, slow and steady. As you rest now, imagine yourself in this gentle world, where each day unfolds at its own peaceful pace, and the cares of the larger world feel far away. Let the soft rhythms of colonial life carry you further into relaxation, where worry is replaced by the simple comfort of routine and the quiet hope that better days will come. The war winds down as the seasons continue their steady march. The long years of war begin to show on the faces of the people. The fields are still tended, the candles still made, but every household feels the weight of waiting. The sound of distant gunfire is less frequent now, replaced by a quiet hope that peace may at last return. In the camps, soldiers wake to the gradual light of dawn, their breath visible in the cool morning air. The routine is familiar: roll call, a simple breakfast, cleaning muskets, mending uniforms. The ground is hard and the tents are worn, but the men move slowly, conserving their energy for what each day may bring. Letters home speak less often of battles and more often of longing. Soldiers write of the beauty of the land at sunrise, the camaraderie of friends, the taste of fresh bread sent from home. They describe the slow passing of time, the endless drills, the small comforts: a cup of coffee, a game of cards, or the sound of a distant fiddle. The final campaigns are slow and measured. In the South, armies march and countermarch, moving through fields and forests, their progress marked by the rising and falling of dust behind wagons. The roads are long and rutted, lined with the footprints of men and horses. The air is filled with the low sound of wheels turning, the quiet clink of harness, and the occasional call of a crow. At night, the camps are peaceful, the fires burning low. The sky above is vast and filled with stars, each one a silent witness to the hopes and hardships below. The men settle into their blankets, some talking softly, others already asleep. The only sounds are the gentle crackle of the fire and the distant call of a night bird. In the towns and villages, word of the war's progress arrives slowly. Newspapers are read aloud in the village square, their pages filled with careful descriptions of battles won and lost, of generals meeting beneath white flags, of long negotiations in distant cities. Each piece of news is welcomed with quiet relief or silent sorrow, and life continues with the same deliberate patience. The final act of the war unfolds at Yorktown, a small town beside a broad river. The British army, tired and outnumbered, waits behind earthworks as the American and French forces gather around them. The siege is a slow affair. Soldiers dig trenches, haul supplies, and wait for the signal to advance. The days are measured in small tasks, filling sandbags, carrying water, writing letters home. The surrender, when it comes, is quiet and dignified. The British soldiers march out, their uniforms neat, their faces solemn. Flags are furled, muskets are stacked, and the long conflict ends not with a roar, but with the soft lowering of arms and the signing of papers. The generals speak in low voices, exchanging formal words and measured bows. Afterwards, the armies begin to disperse. Some men return to their homes, walking or riding along familiar roads, greeted by the sight of blooming fields and the sound of children's laughter. Others linger in the towns, helping to rebuild what has been lost, mending fences, repairing barns, planting gardens. The work is hard, but it is work they have longed for. In the cities, news of peace is met with quiet celebrations. Bells ring, church doors are opened, and neighbors gather to offer thanks. The celebrations are gentle, marked by shared meals and prayers for the future. Yet, the end of the war does not mean the end of struggle. There are fields to be cleared, debts to be paid, and new challenges to face. But for now, there is a sense of relief, gentle exhale, as if the land itself is breathing easier. Families are reunited. Tables are once again full. The slow routines of life resume, planting, harvesting, weaving, and mending. Each day is a small step forward, a quiet act of rebuilding. The war, once a distant fear, becomes a memory, spoken of in the evenings as stories passed down from parent to child. The lessons of hardship and hope linger in every corner of the land. As you listen, let your own breath slow and deepen, settling into the gentle rhythm of a world at peace. The night is quiet, the air cool, and the future, though uncertain, is filled with the comfort of home and the promise of rest. And so, dear dreamer, the long and quiet story of the American Revolution draws to its gentle close. What began as distant murmurs in quiet villages, as slow letters passed from hand to hand, unfolded over years of patience, endurance, and quiet hope. Now, the fields are green again. The towns are filled with the sounds of daily life, laughter from open windows, the gentle clatter of dishes, the steady rhythm of tools at work. The land is at peace, its people returning to the routines that bring comfort and meaning. The revolution, though remembered for its battles and its bold declarations, was carried forward each day by ordinary men and women. Their lives, shaped by the steady repetition of work and the quiet strength of community, built the foundation of a new nation. Freedom and independence were won not just on battlefields, but in gardens, kitchens, and workshops, in the simplest acts of care and perseverance. As darkness settles over the countryside, the world becomes still. The last candle is extinguished. The quiet of night wraps gently around every home. The echoes of history fade, leaving only the soft hush of crickets, the whisper of leaves in the evening breeze, and the steady, peaceful rhythm of your own breath. Remember, history's greatest changes unfold not in moments of excitement, but in the patient turning of countless days and the gentle hope that tomorrow might be just a little brighter. And so, dear dreamer, as the echoes of history fade and the quiet of the night settles in, may your mind find peace and your dreams take you to places even time cannot touch. Until next time, sleep well and dream deeply. Close your eyes, turn the page, and let history guide you to sweet dreams. The war begins as the years slip quietly by. The gentle murmurs of change grow just a little louder. The colonies, still wrapped in the daily comforts of routines, slowly find themselves drawn toward something newer, slow, reluctant march toward conflict. It begins, as so many things do, with a morning much like any other. The sun rises slowly over the village green, its light softening the edges of houses and fields. In the damp pre-dawn stillness, a few figures move quietly. Farmers heading to their barns, a baker opening his shutters, the postmaster sorting a small bundle of letters. But on this morning, the air feels different. In the town of Lexington, Massachusetts, a group of local men gather under the pale light. They are not soldiers, but ordinary townsfolk, farmers, blacksmiths, shopkeepers, who have come together in their simple coats and hats. They stand quietly, shifting from foot to foot, the grass still wet with dew. There is little talk. The men listen to the distant sounds of the countryside, the call of birds, the gentle lowing of cattle, the muffled steps of the town's night watchmen returning home. Their muskets rest against their shoulders, but there is no sense of urgency, only the anticipation, quiet and uncertain, of something about to begin. As the sun rises higher, a small line of British soldiers appears on the road. Their uniforms are crisp, red coats buttoned neatly, black hats shining in the morning light. They march with deliberate, measured steps, boots making a soft rhythm on the packed earth. The officers' voices are calm, giving orders in low tones. The two groups face each other on the green, separated by a small stretch of grass and silence. For a long moment, nothing happens. A gentle breeze stirs the branches overhead. Somewhere in the distance, a dog barks. The world holds its breath. Then, a single shot rings out, no one is quite sure from where. The sound echoes, startling birds into flight. A few more shots follow, scattered and uncertain. The groups exchange fire for only a moment before the British move on, marching down the road toward Concord. The men of Lexington remain, standing quietly, uncertain, as the morning sun continues its slow climb. In Concord, the story unfolds in much the same way. British soldiers arrive, searching for hidden supplies. Local militia gather quietly along the bridge, watching with cautious eyes. The confrontation is brief, the skirmish over quickly. When the British retreat, the townspeople return to their homes, tending to the wounded, speaking in hushed voices about what has happened. Word of these events travels slowly, carried by riders on horseback who gallop from town to town. The message is passed from one sleepy village to the next, each stop marked by a pause for water, a few quiet words, and the careful handing over of a letter. The news spreads, not in a rush, but in a gentle, persistent ripple. Now as the days pass, more men gather in fields and meeting houses. They come from different towns, dressed in plain clothes, carrying whatever weapons they have. They drill in small groups, practicing their steps, learning to move together as one. The training is slow and repetitive. March forward, turn, shoulder, arms, rest, again and again, until the movements become second nature. The British soldiers, to prepare. Their camps are orderly, tents lined up in neat rows. Each morning, they polish their boots, clean their muskets, and stand in formation for inspection. Meals are served at regular times, a biscuit and salted meat for breakfast, perhaps a bit of tea if supplies allow. The routines are comforting, a steady rhythm in unfamiliar country. On both sides, life in camp is quiet for long stretches. Men write letters home, describing the weather, the food, and the slow passage of time. Some play cards or dice, passing the hours in friendly silence. Others carve small tokens from bits of wood, or simply stare into the fire, lost in thought. As summer turns to autumn, the first real battles begin. They are not grand or chaotic, but slow and cautious, with long periods of waiting, punctuated by short bursts of activity. The sounds of gunfire echo across the fields, but soon fade, replaced by the everyday noises of camp life. The chopping of wood, the murmur of voices, the distant cry of a night bird. The world outside the armies continues as always. Fields are planted and harvested. Stores open each morning and close at dusk. Letters arrive, sometimes months late, their words faded but still welcome. Children grow, animals are born, and the slow, steady heartbeat of life endures. Through all of this, the revolution begins, not with drama or spectacle, but with the quiet, persistent efforts of countless ordinary people. Their stories are written not in bold strokes, but in the soft lines of daily routine, the careful repetition of chores, and the gentle, unhurried passing of days. As you listen, let the slow rhythm of this history soothe you. The American Revolution, for all its legendary moments, was lived in small, patient steps in the waiting, the marching, the writing of letters, and the quiet hope for a better tomorrow. Now, rest a while in these peaceful fields, where the grass bends softly in the breeze,